Hey everyone, it's Allie, and today we're going to talk about probably the single most important tool that you probably don't know about that's going to massively increase the amount of money that you are going to be able to make at the start of this upcoming season. Today we're going to be talking about the Chaos Recipe, and more importantly, the Chaos Recipe Enhancer, which actually makes the Chaos Recipe a valid thing that most people can actually start doing at the start of the season to basically have a free 2 to 3 divines that you pretty much just left on the ground unattended to. Now, typically what most people end up doing at the start of a season is simply just getting to Katava, killing Katava, and just slowly starting to progress through white and yellow maps as they progress up to red maps, to where they finally start doing a farming strategy and where they start getting money to be able to upgrade their build. Now, the thing about that is that means you're kind of poor due to the maps themselves early on and not really giving much loot. You're not really doing a farming strategy yet, and raw currency isn't that plentiful, meaning you're not going to really have that much money unless you get a lucky drop to be able to upgrade your build. What we're going to be talking about today is how to use the Chaos Recipe Enhancer to be able to do chaos recipes to literally make free divines that you were just literally leaving on the ground. So all this is going to be based around the Chaos Recipe. What it is a vendor recipe that you can do where you have to vendor a full set of gear to a vendor. And if it's between item level 60 to 74, the vendor will give you a chaos orb. Now, the beautiful thing about this is if you vendor a full set of unidentified gear, the vendor will instead give you 2 chaos orbs. And well, because rare gear is super plentiful while doing maps due to all the rare monsters everywhere, you are going to be able to get quite a lot of rare unidentified gear. If we simply just pick it all up and vendor it in sets to vendors, we just get free chaos orbs. Now, the problem with this is as well, that sounds really tedious to pick up items and to know, oh, I have way too many chest plates. I need to stop picking up chest plates. Oh, that's a helmet. That's gloves. I don't need those. It's just an annoying thing to micromanage, and then having to actually assemble the sets in your inventory, then vendor them. It's all a massive hassle, which typically made the Chaos Recipe more of just a meme than anything else. Well, what we're going to be able to do is just simply use a tool called the Chaos Recipe Enhancer, which is going to allow you to just automatically do all of this, which means you simply just have to pick up the items it's telling you to pick up off the ground, and then simply just do all the clicks it's telling you to do, and you literally will just be given free chaos orbs. This is so powerful that pretty much every single high-end player does this, at least for the first day or 2 of the season. And I do need to actually get that across to you, that after the first day or 2 of the season, this is not as good. This is meant to be a tool and a strategy that assists you with making money at the start of a season, but it's not meant to be something they're going to be doing, for example, a week into the season, unless you are starting late and you need money. Now, the final thing to mention here before we go any further is that this is unbelievably potent when combined with a day 1 heisting strategy. This is going to be something that I'm going to have a video on separately in a day, and it's going to talk about how you can do heist to make an additional few divines. If you were to combine the chaos recipe and the heisting strategy together, you can literally walk out of heist, which is going to take you maybe 2 additional hours before moving into maps at Leaguestart, with about 4 to 5 divine and raw currency, as well as an ungodly amount of auxiliary currencies such as fusings and chromes and jewelers, where you can have an amazing start to your mapping experience. It just makes everything substantially easier from there. So with all that out of the way, why don't we talk about how to set up the Chaos Recipe Enhancer, which is going to be the thing that's going to allow all this to actually be possible. So in the description below, there'll be a link on downloading the Chaos Recipe itself. And once you have it downloaded, there's a little bit of setup that we need to do. The first thing is that you're going to have to give it your account name. And this is simply just the same name that you use to import your character into Path of Building. And then you're going to need to specifically give it your PoE Session ID. Now, before we go any further, I need to mention that the PoE Session ID is a very sensitive little bit of information about your account that if someone were to get their hands on, could potentially log into your account on the website as if you logged in with your username and password for them. Because of this might be a deal breaker for some people, but myself and many other streamers and many other people in the community have used the Chaos Recipe Enhancer for many seasons at this point with no worry about it doing any sort of shady things in the background. Personally, I trust my account with it and I'm completely fine with the risk. And this is something you are going to personally have to decide for yourself if it's worth risking the potential security breach that this might cause. With all that out of the way, let's actually talk about how you'd actually get your PoE Session ID. Now, again, please make sure you don't copy paste this anywhere or don't let anyone else see your session ID. But if you do accidentally leak it, make sure you immediately log out of the website and log back in to generate a new session ID so the old one is invalidated. All you have to do if you are in Chrome is simply just hit F12 and this is going to open up the dev console. And all you have to do is go over to the application tab, and up here at the top in this column is going to be where your session ID is stored. Now, all you have to do is simply just double click on it and then just hit Control C, and then you can close this, come over to the Chaos Recipe Enhancer, paste it in here and click Test Connection so it can validate that it actually has access to your stash tabs, because all this is using it for is to be able to look through all your stash tabs and see what is currently inside of them, as it's going to be using that information to tell you when to do a Chaos Recipe and how to actually do it. Once you have this done, all we have to do is just a little bit more setup and we're ready to go. All you have have to do is come over to General tab, make sure Chaos Recipe is enabled, select the league that you're doing this in. This example is using standard, but once Necropolis comes out, you simply click Necropolis, and then you're going to set the full set threshold to however many sets you want it to wait for before it's going to tell you to do the Chaos Recipe. So in this case, with it being set to 15, it's going to wait until I have 15 sets of gear in my stash tabs before it tells me to do the Chaos Recipe. This means if I were to set it something lower, for example, like 3, it's going to wait until 3 full sets of gear are ready to go before it does it. Or if you want to do less Chaos Recipes, you can set it to something like 50, but I highly recommend just leave it at 15. Personally, I feel like 15 is a good sweet spot. Finally, you're going to go over to stash tab query mode and change this from tab name prefix to select tabs from lists. And then all you have to do is click the fetch button. This is going to pick up every single stash tab that you currently own, and you simply just need to select which tabs you're going to want to use as your Chaos Recipe tabs. The final thing to do here is to go over to the overlay tab and change this around if you want to change how the overlay is going to look. And then finally, we're going to need to go download our loot filter off of Filter Blade and point it to our loot filter in the loot filter tab. The way you're going to do this is simply by just coming over to Filter Blade, and then once you load in your filter or whatever filter you're using, if you're using someone else's filter, you're then going to go over to the Save and Export tab, and you're going to click Save and Download Filter. Now, you are going to want to save this specifically where your PoE folder has its filters in them. So, for example, if you hit Escape, go to Options, go to Game, and then click the folder button here, it's going to open up where your PoE is currently storing all your filters, and you're simply just going to want to save this filter in the same location. Now, the final thing to mention about this is once you do have your filter saved in here, you're going to want to change the name of it to something else if you are also using an auto-sync filter. For example, my filter is called Allie 3.23, and this is my auto-sync filter. If I were to go get myself a copy of this filter, it would be named the same exact thing, and we can't have it be named exactly the same thing as an auto-sync filter, because if it is, it's going to automatically just default to the auto-sync every time, and the Chaos Recipe Enhancer cannot manipulate your filter. The reason we want it to manipulate our filter is because it's going to specifically show us items that we need to pick up off of the ground. What I mean by this is once everything is set up, all items that are relevant for the Chaos Recipe will have their labels completely changed in your filter to be color-coded with the labels that the Chaos Recipe Enhancer uses. What this is going to do is it's going to show you exactly what you want to pick up. And the thing about this is because it's manipulating your loot filter, it will automatically turn on and off items as you need to actually pick them up. So for example, let's say we're just randomly sitting here picking up a bunch of items as we're progressing through our map, and we're just simply going over to our stash tab and immediately just putting them away in a stash tab, waiting for more sets to be ready to go before we actually bother doing the Chaos Recipe. Well, the thing about this is what if you have way too many chest plates? You're going to see quite a lot of chest plates, pretty not space efficient, meaning you're not going to want to actually pick up more chest plates than you need for all this because you're just going to fill up your stash tabs with way too many chest plates. So as you can see in this tab, I have 7 different chest plates. If I were to very quickly fetch, as you can see, it is going to gray out the chest plates and the helmets and the gloves. And if I were to go back over to Blood Aqueducts, and if I were to drop this chest plate on the ground, if I quickly click the R button to refresh my loot filter, as you can see, instead of it showing me this chest plate because I need it for my loot filter, it's going to remove the tag off of it. Now, this is simply just going to revert your loot filter back to how it was. So in my case, I would have seen this chest plate no matter what. But if you have all rare items hidden, this would then also just hide chest plates so you don't see them anymore. If I go back into the filter and set this threshold back to 15 and hit save really quickly and then fetch again, well, I don't have 15 chest plates in that tab that's looking for Chaos Recipe items in it. So as you can see, it will show me that I need 7 more chest plates. And if I very quickly hit the refresh loot filter button, as you can see, the chest plate will now be tagged in pink, which is going to very nicely just automatically show you the items you actually need to pick up. And the final thing to mention about this is it's all automatically done in the background. Every single time you load a new zone, the Enhancer will automatically fetch and it will automatically reload your filter for you, meaning you don't need to do any of this once it's all set up. Meaning that once you have all of the initial settings saved up, all you have to do is simply just open up the Chaos Recipe, click Start Overlay, and you're good to go. You just simply go and do maps, kill monsters, pick up all the loots that's showing you to pick up, put in a stash tab. They specifically set it to look at for Chaos Recipe items, and then you just simply go along your merry way and pick up all these items and just throw them in here. So the final thing to mention about all this is how do we actually do the Chaos Recipes themselves? Well, the tool is going to literally do all the work for you. At the bottom of the overlay on the left, it's going to show you a number for however many sets you have ready to go. So in my case, it's showing me a 2 because there are 2 full sets of Chaos Recipe items ready to go waiting for me in this stash tab. All I'd have to do is simply just open up my stash, come over to a tab that has all the items in it, and then if I just click the 2, an overlay will pop up over my stash tab, and all you have to do is literally just pick up all of the items highlighted in red. So I'd go through and take out these weapons, take out these boots, this pair of gloves, this belt, this ring, this chest plate, and so on and so forth. And sometimes these red squares might stick. You might have to double click it to actually get rid of it. But all you have to do is simply just click on everything it's telling you to do. And once you have a full set in your inventory, it's going to automatically move on to the next set. Once we do have the items for a Chaos Recipe set, all we have to do is simply just come over to the vendor, put all the items in here, and as you can see, it's going to offer me 2 Chaos Herbs. I would then just go to my stash again and just do the same thing. I would take out everything it's telling me to take out. And once I have everything in my inventory, just go over to the vendor one more time, vendor everything. And as you can see, in just a matter of basically 5 clicks, we just made ourselves 4 Chaos Herbs. Now that we have done all of our recipes, all we have to do is just simply turn off the overlay. And as soon as we zone into any other area, because it's automatically recalculating everything every time you are in a loading screen, you will see that it's going to refetch. It's going to see that I need 2 more boots, 3 more weapons, and a few rings and belts to be able to do more recipes. And it's going to automatically reload my filter to specifically see these items I need. This means it's literally doing all the work for you. You literally just need to simply pick up items, come over to your stash tabs, and put everything away in your stash. And once you have enough, click the button, click on the items in your overlay, and vendor everything away. If you end up doing the Chaos Recipe through the Chaos Recipe Enhancer, like I said, you should end up with somewhere around 100 to 200 chaos, depending on how lucky you get. The big bottleneck here is going to specifically be jewelry, as rings, amulets, and belts are typically the things that it's going to get hang up on, as those are the rare items to see. But that should be substantially more money than you would typically make just progressing through white and yellow maps normally. It should hopefully help you get the upgrades that you need for your build substantially faster. If you have any questions on any of this and the setup for this, feel free to leave a comment in the comments below, and I'll be more than happy to help you as soon as I can. I also stream on Twitch every single day, and if you have any questions about this, feel free to come by Twitch and ask me your questions there. I will personally be using the Chaos Recipe and the Chaos Recipe Enhancer at the start of a season. It'd be very foolish not to. So if you want to see how this works live for yourself before you try it, if you're afraid of giving it your PoE Session ID, or if you just have any questions or you want to come hang out with all the cuties at the start of the season, I'd be more than happy to see you as a part of our community. With all that said, cuties, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you all in the next video.